Good day, everyone, and welcome back to Mommy Guide Inc. Yes, okay, I just have to open up Instagram as well. All right, so it's okay, it's open now. So, again, thank you so much for joining me once again. It's another crafty episode here on Mommy Guide Inc. And yes, I'm celebrating craft every day in August, right? So, in Craft Every Day in August, I do a specific crafty event and then normally I would share it with you or you can craft along with me. But for the first week or so of CEDA in 2025, Craft Every Day in August 2025, I wanted to do revisiting the basics. So for those who are actually more seasoned crafters, this might feel like it's very boring. So yes, you may come back, right? So maybe after a week or so, but I know that those who actually stop by are just really very supportive, and I thank you so much. Just to say hi and wish everybody like Lori in the chat, right? So I know all the things I'm going to be talking about the first few days of my SIDA for August 2025 are very, very basic. And this is really intentional because I've been getting a lot of questions. So instead of answering them individually over and over again, now I just have to point them back to the videos that I've created. And I think also that's how Roy, my dear friend in the chat, Tech Troublemaker, actually started his own channel as well. Because a lot of people ask him about tech. Right? How do you do this? How do you do that? So Roy decided to actually just, all right, put content on YouTube and then lead, his friends, students, and everybody was interested in the things that he is good at, and that is tech. Okay, onto his channel. So if you have questions about tech, please head on to my dear friend Roy on Tech Troublemaker, and he will be going live in 2 days with an awesome guest. All right, Jill of Ecamm. So if you want to know more about that, please do head on to his channel and set notify. Thank you again so much, Laurie, for being here very early. Again, this is a very basic topic. The first day we talked about the basic tools that you will need if you want to be or if you want to start a new crafty avenue this year, right? Whether it be paper crafting, jewelry making. So there are a lot of crafting opportunities, and the list that I talked about there are definitely not exhaustive, but those are the things or crafty avenues that I actually have several or a lot of videos here in my channel. So it can lead you to start with that and then go and head on to the other videos. And then the day after, that's day 2, we talked about paper. What are the different kinds of paper? When you see the term pound, GSM, what do those words mean, right? So head on over to day number 2, which was yesterday, and today is day number 3. And today we'll talk about another important thing in crafting, and that is adhesive. All right, joining us again early on is our dear friend Susan. Thank you so much, Susan. I know that Susan, Laurie, Roy, you guys know all of these things already, but you are here just to support me, and I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much, my dear friends. All right, so heading on to our first. Oops. All right, so let me just chick. All right, adjust that. All right. So yes, we are heading on to the basics, and for today, it is adhesives. All right. So the things that you actually use to put your projects together. And of course, another dear friend of ours who absolutely do not need anything about the topic today, but is actually dropping by to just say hi to us and support all of us. Hi, Yvette. Good morning. Yes, indeed, Yvette. Olea Creates. Okay, everybody that you see here, please do check them out. Whether most of them are on Instagram, where I am very rarely posting, but a lot of my dear crafty friends have post a lot of posts on Instagram, and some of them are actually on Facebook and of course YouTube. Yvette says, getting ready to head out to my water exercise class. Ooh, I would want to know that about that. Is that like Zumba water, something like that, Yvette? Oh, that would be nice. Hi, Yvette from Susan, because I do have an issue with my spine. I have a C2C impingement, C3, C4, C5. So I actually cannot do running or lifting or pulling. But I think water would be a little bit, water exercises would be probably something that I can look into. So I'm interested to know more about that, Yvette. I'll probably message you later on. So going back, what are adhesives? Yes, adhesives are substances used to bond two surfaces together. Two or more. Okay, in fact, especially if you like doing 3D creations or DIY projects, right? And also, they work by creating a chemical or a little bit of chemistry here, a chemical or physical materials, sorry, connection between materials such as paper, fabric, plastic, metal, or even wood, right? So in crafting, adhesives help hold elements in place, yes, and are either permanently or temporarily, depending on the project and the use you would want them to be, right? So, next up is okay. Again, I am no expert. What I'm sharing are basically the basics that I have gone through and I've been using for over 4 decades, right? So the next question is, why are adhesives what do you call this, essential? Why are adhesives essential or necessary in crafting? Okay, so first, adhesives are invisible because normally they are, they are at the back, yet powerful tools that bring our creative ideas to life. Without the adhesive, your project will fall apart, right? Unless you're doing something like an origami where you don't need any form of adhesive, right? And then another is whether we're layering papers, um, attaching embellishments, or securing 3D elements. Adhesives are what keep again everything together. So choosing the correct adhesive ensures durability, clean finishes, and professional looking projects. So whether your project is just for your own use, right, or for a gift or something that you probably will be using for business as a side hustle, maybe what do you call this, craft markets or fairs, stuff like that. It always is nice to come up with, finished projects that won't fall apart or collapse on you, right? All right, so let's just check again a little bit of you in the chat. Again, for those who are on replay, all right, so just fast forward on the parts where I just basically greet everybody and, talk to the people in the chat. All right. So, yes, and Roy saying hi to everybody. This is a very sticky topic. I'm glued to my screen. I love the pan, Roy. Absolutely. It is called Aquafit. Okay, it's a great class for those with injuries because it isn't too hard on the body. Exactly. It has been suggested to me actually. The thing is, I just, I need to find the pool that's heated because I easily get cold. It's a nice workout though. I go 4 to 5 days a week. That's awesome, Yvette. Okay, go. I hope you are able to continue that, especially now that it's summer and it's not too cold just yet. Okay, Laurie saying hi to Sammy as well, and everybody saying hi to everybody. Sprinkle with cards. This is Zell, my dear friends. She's another awesome crafter based here in the Philippines. So if you have not checked her out, I think she has a new avatar or logo. Loving it, Zell. Loving it. All right. So of course, Sam also saying hi to everybody. 10 over 10 for the puns, Roy. All right. So let's go back. All right. Oh, Roy! Thank you so much for the gifted memberships, Roy. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, my friend. Oh my goodness. So if you don't know yet, okay, Sprinkle with Cards has become a member. Again, thank you so much, Roy, for gifting our dear people in the chat right now with membership. So if you are not yet a member of the channel, there are a ton of videos in the channel that are for members only. And now you can actually get a chance to watch those courtesy of our dear friend Roy in the chat. Oh, I love it. Yes. And Vicky here actually got one of the membership gifts. Okay, and of course, Jana as well, my dear friend. Hi, Jana of J. Marie Designed. Reagan, hello, Reagan. Thank you so much and glad to see you here, my friends. Again, thank you so much, dear Roy. You know, we didn't need to do that, but that is how Roy is, right? He is such a supportive, member of our community. He is not like a hardcore crafter, but he's actually very crafty. But most of it being crafty in tech. Part of the reason why you see what I can do right now are thanks to Roy, right? So every time I have a a tech issue for whatever YouTube, majority of which are on YouTube, you can absolutely ask Roy. Again, he goes live every Wednesday nights. No, Tuesday nights for you and Wednesday mornings for me. So check out his channel, my friends, and I'm sure you'll learn a lot as well. Because as crafters, most of us actually create content, whether it's just video or it's just images, right? So you'll learn a lot from our dear friend Roy of Tech Troublemaker. Yes, congratulations, membership winners, said Susan T. Susan, were you able to get one? I lost track of who got it. But thank you so much again, Roy, for the memberships. All right, again, membership perks. You can now get access to I have about 1,000 videos in my channel, and a lot of them are for members only. So you can get a chance to take a peek at all of those. All right. So again, okay, so we're done with why are adhesives essential in crafting? All right, now the types of project that require adhesives. A lot. Basically, almost every crafty project I have done requires a bit of adhesive. Sometimes a lot, okay, sometimes less, okay? So first and foremost, almost everybody here in the chat right now, except Roy, okay, although Roy can actually create a card, okay? But Roy is really more into tech, my friends, okay? So it's card making. If you want to see Roy joining me for card making, we did, right? So that is also one of the videos that you can check out, right? So in card making, adhesives are used to attach card panels, okay, die cuts, okay, embellishments, sentiments, and interactive elements like sliders or pop-ups. Okay, again, I will show you all of these things later on. Okay. Also, in card making, we also use tape runners, glue dots, liquid glue, and foam tape. Okay, those 3 or 4 are normally my staples. It's like for us Filipinos or for those who are here in Southeast Asia, one of our staple food is rice. No meal, even breakfast, has rice. So mostly lunch and dinner. So for crafters, especially card makers or paper crafters, adhesive is a staple. And these 4 are actually one of those or several of those. All right, scrapbooking, right? So in scrapbooking though, the adhesives are a little bit more dedicated in the sense that you just cannot use anything. Again, if your purpose is for longer memory keeping, right? So as I mentioned in day 1, they have to be acid free, lignin free for it to stay put together, okay? For it not to degrade. All right, there you go. So, okay, so adhesives secure the photos. Yes, you can put adhesives on photos, okay, but not all the kinds of adhesives can be used. There are specific ones for that. And other flat or raised decorations, again, depends on how you want to put them in. And then, of course, as I mentioned, archival safe, right? So definitely none that is acid, not everything has to be acid free, okay? Because that will prevent the yellowing or damaging photos over time, especially if you live in a humid place where, like where I am. It is really what do you call this, it's really a difficult thing to try to preserve them. So, and normally the number one culprit for the degradation of your scrapbooks, okay, or your memories or your photos is adhesive. Remember those photo albums that are magnetic? Okay, the reason that they are like that because you know the paper where you stick the photos, they have like lines of adhesive, right? That's why you are able to stick it and then close it, and then it's stuck there. But the thing is, the adhesive there, my goodness, are very very acidic. So if you still have those albums, please go get your photos. If you still can salvage them, remove them, okay, and then just put them in ziplocs or in iris boxes, and then put silica gel to prevent moisture from molding, adding molds or putting or introducing molds, until you are able to put them in archival safe albums or turn them into scrapbooks. All right, so that's another place where you can actually use your adhesives. Decoden again. Okay, this is the kind where you use cabochons, where you use a lot of plastic and metal stuff that you decorate everything and anything you have, like your phone covers, your hairbrush, your calculators, whatever you want to. Okay, so it involves gluing again these things onto them. Okay, and it requires strong, quick drying adhesives like epoxy, E6000, or hot glue. Yes, with these kinds of projects, because normally they're metals or plastics and they're kind of big and heavier, you cannot use the usual glue that you use for paper crafting. All right, so different projects, different crafting avenues, different adhesives. All right, the next kind is mixed media. So for mixed media, it combines multiple textures and material like paper. You put fabric on paper, or you put metal, fabric, and paper. And most of the time, you put all of them, a hodgepodge of different materials together. Okay, so on chipboard or canvas or what have you. Therefore, the adhesives like gel medium, matte medium, and Mod Podge help with layering and durability, as well as sealing the projects. All right. So don't worry, because as we move on to CEDA or Craft Everyday in August, you will see more the application of all of these things. Again, as I mentioned, the first week of Craft Everyday in August may be a little bit boring, especially if you are a seasoned crafter, because this is really intended to be a very, very basic class, because I have been asked several times already, Lala, what kind of adhesives do you have? What kind of paper do you have? What do I put here? Where do I get that? So I decided to put this series where we talk about all the basics. Okay. Next one is DIY and upcycling. Right? So this is where if you like creating, trash to treasure. Okay, so you will need adhesives that are used for bonding, normally fabric, plastic, wood, or metal, because these are normally the things that we upcycle, especially like soda bottles, soda cans, right? So your glass bottles, old clothes, right? So when you do or work with these kinds of material or media, most of the time you need hot glue. Okay, tacky glue. Tacky means it's not very sticky. Okay, so just a tad. Okay, and spray adhesives, and then of course sometimes you need a super glue. Okay, are commonly used again depending on the materials and the kind of project that you want to do. Okay, another is Bible journaling or art journaling. Okay, so in this crafty avenue, you also need to attach stuff, mostly paper, okay, ephemera, okay, pocket layers, and collage elements. So normally you don't want to use a lot of very liquid adhesives, but if you do so, there is also a way, and I will show you that when we actually work on mixed media projects. All right. So you can use tape runners for the dry adhesives. Okay, because it prevents wrinkling delicate pages. But the thing with tape runners, though, it's not as sticky. So if you're gonna put fabric, and then it's kind of spendy as well. Okay, it's cheaper when you use the liquid glue. Okay, and then it's so okay. So there you go. That was for yesterday. I forgot to erase that slide. Classification of adhesives. So you have your wet, your dry, and your special adhesives. All right. So let's go into them. Okay, but first, okay, let me see. Okay, you're hungry again. I just ate dinner, beans and rice for us. All right, so for Yvette, okay, the staple for them and every meal is beans and rice, right? We also do love beans every now and then, Yvette. So we have very, similar, a lot of similar food, right? So, yes, thanks for the. I really need to get those magnetic photo albums emptied. Yes, Susan, right? So every time I go visit a friend, and then we end up, looking at old photos, and I see them, their photos, precious photos, right? It's still in those kinds of albums. I said, please, can we just remove them all? It's gonna destroy. It's the acid in the adhesive is gonna destroy the photos, right? Discolor or even destroy. All right. Thank you so much again, Susan, for still being here. Okay, yes, I hardly, Sammy said, hit that like, oh, yes, please don't forget to hit that like button, my friends. Thank you so much, Roy, as well. I always forget to ask people. I cannot survive without rice, actually. Yes, that's my daughter, right? She even she eats rice with spaghetti and ramen, right? So it's like carbohydrate meets carbohydrate. Okay, can anybody relate? Right? So that is how much, my daughter is such a rice eater. Yes, lots of similarities. Exactly, right? And Yvette is my favorite seatmate, cheatmate in MCA. So I've been missing her lately, right? So I hope all is well, actually, Yvette. So if you have not checked out Yvette, she does a lot of awesome projects as well on Yvette Olea Create. She's also a design team member of a lot of awesome manufacturers for card making. All right. All right. So let's go back. This time, the different kinds of adhesives. So let's start off with wet adhesives. All right. So examples, the white glue. Remember those kinds of glue that you use for when, whoops, what happened to my camera? Okay. Sorry about that. My camera. Okay. It slept because it was not being used. Hold on. Spot center. All right. I will just wake it up. Okay. I will just make it awake. Okay. I will just ask it to, hello, Obsbot, wake up. All right. So there. Because he felt, okay, I'm not being used anyway. So I'm just going to go to sleep. All right. So there you go. So okay, it's awake now. There you go. All right. So these are examples of, the kind of glue that you can use. Okay. So normally, okay, it's white, like the Barely Art. Okay. So if you can see, like that one inside, it's white. So then you have the Elmer's glue. That is absolutely fine if you're just a beginner. Okay, you don't need to go to, look. These are one of my, two of my favorite adhesives. But you can always start out with just whatever you see or you have at home. Okay, and most of us have a lot of this one or the PVA. Okay, that's basically, I forgot the actual polyvinyl acetate. I'm not sure. Okay. But anyway, that is the composition of that glue. Okay. Mod Podge. And it's just for paper crafters. That is, you're good to go. One of our friends, T of Not Afraid of Color, Tracy, she basically uses that glue alone for so many things, right? So you'd be surprised. You don't even need those very, those branded, really very expensive liquid adhesives if you're just starting out. Okay, what are the pros for wet adhesives? Okay, it does have a strong bond when it dries up. Okay. Again, if you use it for the right material. Okay. And of course, it's the most affordable of all the types of adhesive, right? And also easily available. All right. So, and it's also, yes, easy to find. What are the cons? Okay. So, the cons are basically drying time. So, if you are in a rush, you want to layer things on top of it, or you want to, add more, okay, you need to dry it first. And if that is something that you don't have the luxury of, maybe consider the next kind of adhesive that I'm going to talk about later on. And sometimes I combine both. All right. So I'll show you that as well. Whoop, 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 whoop. What happened? Okay. Okay. And then tips. Okay, use sparingly. You know how when we use our adhesive, okay, so when we use it, okay, sometimes we would use it like, okay, let me see. What do we have here? Okay, so instead of, okay, hold on. I'm just going to look for an example. Okay, I think we can use, all right, okay. Actually didn't prepare very well in terms of something that I can adhere. Okay, so for example, you want to adhere this circle. Okay, so you don't need to fill the whole circle with adhesive because remember it's liquid. When you push it down, okay, the liquid adhesive will actually move. Okay, so what you do is you just most of the time, okay, I just put adhesive onto the sides. And not a lot, okay? Just a tad, okay? And look at that. That's one thing also that you might encounter with liquid adhesives. Hold on. Okay. So, with liquid adhesives, another thing that you might encounter as an issue is that oftentimes, if you don't really, put the cap tightly, whoops, okay. Okay, so it might get clogged at the tip. So you just get like a pin, okay, and try to push. See, it has dried up. That's why nothing was coming out. Okay, so you just gently push, okay, and then remove whatever kind of debris. Okay, my camera, what is happening to you? All right, so I'm just trying to until you see. Okay. What is happening? Let me see. Where okay, let me check the setting of my spot. Is it on? Yeah, it's on standard. Okay. Anyways. So as I was saying, all right, so just go to the edges. Okay, let me see. Oh, nope. Nope. Where is that? Okay, see? Okay, the bottom camera, my friends. So I only put there. Okay, and not a lot. Okay, because you can always, rub it, or when you put it down like so, when you push it down, it's gonna spread and you're good to go. Okay, because if you put a lot when you push it down like so here, you will have a lot of excess glue. Okay, and that can actually create like a sometimes become source of dirt, okay, on your project, or you might accidentally stick other things that you don't really want to. Okay, so again, use sparingly to avoid warping, and then make sure that you actually tighten it, okay, before you leave it. Okay, make sure that it is because again, it hardens with when exposed to air. All right. Okay, so before we move on to the next kinds of adhesives, okay, so let me just check the chat first. By the way, Roy, okay, guys, for all of you, I'm not sure, for those who are actually creating content on Instagram and YouTube, I heard that I think it was July 30th where Instagram supposedly had stopped allowing people to go live on Instagram if they have less than 1,000 followers. I know that we have several friends on Ecamm. Ecamm is the platform that I use for my going live. But Roy, right now, is there anybody on Instagram right now? Okay, because supposedly I am also live on Instagram. Um, okay, and I don't see any. I'm not sure if I was able to go live on Instagram, but it did let me post it on Ecamm, but supposedly not because I have only 400 followers or so on Instagram. So if you're not yet following me on Instagram, I hope that you would consider a follow on Instagram, right? So I might reach that 1,000. Okay, maybe before next year or by next year. It's a long, long ways to go. Roy said, hello to Linda and Susan. Good day to Yvette, to Ala Lori. Greetings to you all. Thank you again so much, Roy, for the 5 memberships or gifted memberships. And this is Wims, another awesome artist crafter based here in the Philippines. So if you have not checked out my dear friend Zell of Sprinkle with Cards and Whimsical Thoughts, I hope that you would. Right? So hi Wims from Susan. Sorry, I'm super late. It's okay. Yes, it's been a long day of work for me too, Wims. High five. 5 points deducted from Gryffindor. Hi, Susan and Linda. Okay, actually, we are Hufflepuff, I think. Right, Susan? Because actually, I have them. That's why I'm trying to use them. Right? And these cameras, I kid you not, the face cam I'm using is older than Samantha. I kid you not. And Samantha is 23. That's a very, very old SLR camera. And I used to lug that around to take photos of my kids when they were younger. I think that's the very reason why I have issues on my spine. Because that SLR camera is very, very heavy. But it's amazing that up to now, I can use that more than 20 plus year old camera as my face cam. So don't think that you need, super high-tech new things just to go live. Again, message Roy or check out Roy's channel and you'll see that you actually need very little. And the ones that I use for my overhead and the side one are again just things that I actually won from being part of the Ecamm fam. I love joining challenges, right? And by God's amazing grace, I actually win. So those 2 cameras, both are OBSBot cameras. They are PZA cameras, I think it's what they say. It's actually a webcam, but powered by AI. And that's why sometimes you see it like zoom, zoom, right? So there you go. Okay. Wim said, I want to say I love the series this CEDA because of these basic sessions. Oh, thank you so much, Wims. I know that you guys are really very supportive because all of these things you already know about. But for those who are really, just starting, I hope that this really helps, right? Okay, I can see you in Insta. Oh, thank you so much, Zell. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm a bug. Because I know that there are several of our friends who can no longer go live on Instagram because they don't have at least 1,000 follows. Why I am still able to? I have no idea. Right? That's why I said I'm testing. But thank you so much, Zell, for checking it out. Okay, I'm still live on Instagram. Thank you, Yvette. I don't know why. I'm supposed to not be able to do that anymore. Right? So let's not tell the Lala doesn't have 1,000 follows. Okay, public follows. So, anyways, it's an age reveal party. It's okay when you're young. It's okay to reveal your age, right? And we have Jay. Hi, good morning. Good morning, Jay. Are you on your way to work, my friend? Oh, by the way, I'll be at Jay's channel this weekend. So I'll be going live. You're going to be able to see me twice this Saturday. So I'll be going live a bit in the morning here for me, nighttime for you. And when you wake up, I'll be there again. Nighttime for me and morning for most of you guys as I will be hopping on to Jay's channel for our monthly faith journaling. So we hop onto each other's channel. We what do you call this, we exchange hosting. So the last month I hosted it, so this month Jay is hosting it. So I hope that we can, see you there as well. It's actually this Saturday, nighttime for me, and Saturday mornings for most of you. Yes, everybody saying hi to Jay and Wims. Okay, and Susan is on Instagram, and she actually said, "Hi Lala." Thank you so much, Susan, for testing this out with me. Okay, I have 400 followers on IG, but I can go live. All right, Zell, the thing is, they did an announcement that starting July 30th, you can no longer go live. So we have to ask our, resident tech person in the house, we are so blessed to be that he is here. Roy, how is it? What is the rule? Okay, so Zell said, oh, maybe that is only applicable for the US. Maybe for us here in the Philippines, it has not been rolled out yet. Maybe. I think that is why, Zell, that we still can. I think it depends on how much activity you have on Insta. So even if you don't have the followers, you have a lot of activity. Roy, you do know I don't have a lot of activity on Instagram. The only thing I do on Instagram basically is post DT stuff, and of course when I do go live. Again, thank you so much, Susan, for checking out Instagram and even posting a hi. Okay, maybe Roy, could it be that it is based, maybe they rolled out that announcement only for the US or Europe and Canada first? So maybe we're up next. I think that's the only logical thing I can think of. And maybe Roy's as well. But Roy, I'm not very active on Instagram, so I'm not sure if that, would be applicable to me. But, let's wait for Roy. And once Roy gets back to me, okay, I will share that with you guys. But most of you guys are actually very active on Instagram. So most of you have more than 1,000 subscribers or follows on Instagram. Hopefully I can get there before I turn 60. How's that? All right. So not to pressure myself too much. All right. So next, okay. Oh, not paper terms. We are done with that yesterday. So now we're on to dry adhesives. So we were on wet adhesives. Now we go to dry adhesives. All right. So one of the things that I like to use best when I'm in a rush, right? Because there's no need to dry it up, right? So examples of which are double-sided tape, tape runners, glue dots. Okay, so I think I forgot to showcase the different. Let's start with the liquid glue first. Let's go back to the wet glue or wet adhesives first, all right? So this one is called Pixie Spray, and it's a light tack, and it's repositional adhesive. So you won't worry that if you stick whatever and this is a spray adhesive. Okay, see, my grip is very weak. I can't even open it. You just have to, push it like that. Pretend I am able to open it's just my grip is really bad, right? So you will just spray. Normally it's for stencils, okay, and then you will stick it onto your stencil, okay, and you won't worry that when you pull out the stencil that it will rip your paper. So for those, again, I know most if you are watching and you're new, what stencil is she talking about? Hold on. So these are stencils. Okay, most of the time they are made of mylar plastic, but this one I think is different. But this one, yeah, so something like this, kind of shiny. All right, so this is what a stencil is, and normally you would put it on paper. Let's say you want to get that image, okay, of circles and dots, right? And then you want to put, you would ink over it or whatever technique you want. Okay, so the thing is, if it moves while you're doing the inking, and then somehow, for example, you have a brush and then you're inking. And then by some chance I accidentally moved it. All right. So you're going to have ghosting, right? So you're going to have like doubles of the images. So to prevent that, you put something like the pixie spray. So it will make it stay in place, but when you remove it like so, it's not going to rip your paper. Okay, so that is one liquid adhesive in spray form. Okay, and then you have this. So this is also one, but it's actually this one's for the special. So let's not use that just yet. All right. So like the Mod Podge. Okay, so there you go. This is one that you would normally use for sealing as well or for mixed media. So if you want to lay your paper on top of paper and stuff like that. The thing that I don't like about Mod Podge though is it dries a little bit sticky. So if you don't like that feel, maybe you can water it down a bit. Okay, add a little bit more water. Okay, and then okay, so the others are actually different special glues. All right. So now let's go to the dry. Okay, so I will show you the different kinds of dry adhesives. All right. So I normally have all my adhesives on one side of my desk so that when I'm crafting, I can just easily put the get whatever it is I need. So if you do want to check out how I actually arrange everything in my desk near or around my desk in my craft room, do check out my videos, my craft room tour videos. I have several actually. Every year I do at least one. For 2025, I have not done one just yet because I am actually gonna do a bit of a major, semi-major tweak to my craft room in about within this month. So hopefully by September or October, depends on how fast I can edit. And the rhinos, I'm pretty slow and bad at editing, but I will get that to you. All right. So these are examples of dry adhesives. So you have don't mind the brands. Okay. So this is basically okay. Um, a permanent adhesive, okay? And it's double-sided. Okay? And this one, okay, it looks like okay. Oh, okay. Oh, there. So when you pull it, it will go out like so at the other end. I forgot to look. Okay. So you see, okay, that it's actually a little bit raised. Okay, so let's do it like this. Okay, so I can show you what it looked like. See, it's a little bit raised. Okay, so it's not flat. Okay, and this come in different sizes. All right, so this one is actually, so you can use this to have like 3D effects, right? So this one. Okay, so that's what it is. It's called, so it's permanent. Okay, so let's go back to the one that I was showing you a while ago. Say if you want this one, okay, if you want to use this one and put it, on top of, okay, a card, so you just stick it like so, okay, and then remove the adhesive, I mean the what do you call this, the protector, okay, like so. Okay. Whoop. Okay. I am slowly. Okay. The thing is, this has been with me for over 10 years. So it's not the best quality or optimum quality anymore. It's sticking to the release tape already when it's supposed to just let go and stick to the paper. All right. So that's another thing. Do not hoard your adhesive. See what happened to it. Okay, because they do have expiration dates. They won't last forever, right? So, okay, try to use them and not hoard them. Okay, so this is what they look like. So it does give your card a little bit of a height, so it can add dimension. Okay, so I'll put different kinds of adhesives onto this one. So this is a glue dot. It's called a glue dot. Okay, it comes in different sizes. This one is a half by 1/16 inch. Okay, so, and then you have, okay, something like this, a click and stick mounting. Again, this is double sided. All right, so when you push this one, okay, you put it through. Okay, so again, this is very, very quite, so it's quite old. So the thing is, this one, okay, so normally you would pass it through there. You would see that, okay, let me see there. Okay, focus. Okay, so it's like a double sided tape. Okay, but it has already been, okay. So normally, if you put it in the dispenser, okay, so it will already pre-cut it for you. Okay, so you see the double-sided. Okay, so that one is in a what do you call that? Dispenser. Okay, it's a very old one. Scrapbook Adhesives. That's the brand. Okay, and then so they come in different types. Okay, but this is my go-to right now, and this is called the Kokuyo dot liner. All right. So this one, the yellow one, that's the difference. This one is temporary. This one is permanent. The thing about the tape runners or glue runners, again, they're very easy to use. Okay. And then you don't need to let them dry and you can refill. Okay. So just pull it out like so and then just put in the refill. So you can buy just the refill and then just put it in like so. Okay, it's a no-brainer really. Not rocket science. It's not really rocket. Just put it in and then close. But the thing is, this is only about 10 meters, I think. Okay, 8.4 millimeter by 16 meters. So it's just 16 meters the length. So if you're creating, let's say sometimes I do like 15 cards to 18 cards when I do my Canvas Card Challenge cards, right? So I normally have to use sometimes more than one of these, right? So a little bit more spendy, and sometimes what if you don't have the refill? So several of us actually use that bigger like a gun. Okay, I forgot what it's called, but Jay uses it, Yvette uses it, basically everybody uses it except probably me. Another reason why I don't use it is it's heavy. I actually had one of those, but I gave it away several years ago. I had this thing for my club, the Joyful Crafters Club, where make a crafter's wish come true, right? So you would post something in the chat, okay, and then if you have that, maybe you want to give it as a gift. Right, so no monetary exchange, nothing. It's just make a wish, and somebody wished for that, and I gave it away because it's heavy for me. It's so hard. You see how my hands are really very, it's not strong anymore. That's why I use anything and everything that's electric, right? So there you go. So this is my favorite go to, okay, tape runner or glue runner. And then you have so many. Would you believe that in your dollar stores, right? Dollar General or Dollar Tree, you can actually find something like this, very very cheap. Okay, but the thing is most of them are not what do you call this, non refillable. Okay, but it's cheap. Okay, and then so it comes in different size, different. This is would you believe this is an Elmer's? All right, so the way you use it is you just oops, you just push it down onto the paper. Okay, and then it will release, okay, the paper. Okay, what happened to it? Won't release. Okay, there you go. So it has that dot, okay, over there. Okay, let me see if I can show it. Come on. Not that, this one. So that circle. Whoop. Can you see the circle? I cannot see the circle. What angle do you want me to do this so you will show the circle? It's that one. All right. So anyways, so again, it comes in different shapes, brands, what have you. Okay. So these are your double-sided, okay, dry adhesives. Okay. And then this adhesives, the ones I showed you, are mostly flat. right? So flat. Though they won't give your products except for the glue dots, right? So but most of the time they're flat, okay? But there are those that are, oh, by the way, okay, you can also have like different widths of the double-sided adhesive, and it can also come in rolls like this, like tape. Right, so you can have one like as big as 2 inches or more. I even have a 6 one, a sokwang. Okay, that's 6 inches long. Okay, and I mean the width is 6 inches, and then this is half an inch, and this is 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so you see it can come in different widths as well. So depending upon the project, okay. So remember how with liquid adhesive, it takes time for it to dry up. With this one, it's not. It's easy. It dries up fast. Okay, but sometimes let's say you have stickers or you have an old one of it. So what I do is on top of, and the nice thing about this kinds of, double sided is the thing is you can also rip it with your own hands, so no need for scissors. Okay, so the thing is when you do that, okay, so what you can do is, okay, so for those who are new to double-sided, you just put it on to the paper. Okay, put pressure like so, and then peel off the release tape. Okay, like that. Okay, so normally you would see me do this when I go live. And so the adhesive is left. You see that rectangular thing. And sometimes if it has dried up a bit, so what I do is to reinforce it by adding a bit of liquid glue. Okay, and that would also give me a little bit of a wiggle room. Let's say I am trying to center it onto my card. Okay, let me see if I can get the card base over here. Okay, so if I want to center it onto my card, okay, and then I would, I'm not sure exactly where I want to put it, right? So if you have liquid glue, then you have time to, change it, change your mind or something, right? Because if not, a double-sided adhesive, and if it's permanent and you've, what do you call this? Pasted onto your paper, can rip your paper. But if you add a little bit of liquid glue, then it will give you a little bit of a wiggle room until it's still not very dry. Then you can still move it. All right. So that's how you can mix those two, your liquid and your dry adhesive. So there's something like that. Okay. So again, this can give you volume. So this is what we call a low profile foam tape. So if you do want to have a little bit of dimension, you can use something like this. So there are those that come in, squares already like this. There are those that come in rolls like this. Okay. For you guys, it's like I'm amazed when I see other crafters, their videos, and they show like, look at how small my rolls are. Right? So I see other crafters on YouTube, their rolls are like as big as my face. Right? That's how big it is. I said, wow, that would be so expensive because this kind is already expensive. So I can just imagine how expensive that big thing is. But again, because this is of a specific brand, right? But there are those that are a little bit cheaper. All right. So there are many things, okay, that you can look for. So like this one. Okay, so it's a different brand, a little bit cheaper, but most of the time, the ones that are, these are called foam tape, by the way, and it's double-sided as well. It normally is very hard to remove. Okay, so that's one of the things. So you have to check it out, right? So another thing, still on the foam, is not just your elements, but your sentiments. Sometimes they also come in strips like this. So they come in rolls, they come in squares. Okay, they also can come in circles. So, and they can come in very, very thick, very, very thin. All right, so these ones are the ones that I use when I want to do like sentiments. Okay, so for you guys to actually visualize it, I'm going to show you some of them. All right, so, okay. So let's go to some of the cards that I have done in the recent past. Okay, so the very recent past. Okay, so this card, look at this card, right? So if you would see that there's layering onto this card, right? So you see onto the sides, there is layering, right? So I layered the lady or the little girl, not really little girl, but the girl. Okay, and then you can see that I have my sentiment. Okay, so I actually use different kinds of foam tape there. Can you see? All right, so foam tapes can come in different shapes, sizes, thickness, width. Okay, you can go crazy. Okay, but the thing is, if you're a beginner, just buy one roll maybe, okay, and then that's one bottle of a small glue. You start out with that. Don't go crazy and buy all of the things. No, you don't need to. All right, so again, if you look at the base, it's just flat. Okay, so for this card, I basically just used mostly foam tape and liquid glue. Liquid glue, for those that you see that are just flat, I just layered and matted. So you see pattern, solid pattern paper. That's how I am able to still use a lot of different pattern papers, but at the same time, still give them justice, right? So it's not like they're so lost in translation you cannot appreciate it anymore. So matting them helps. Okay, and then adding layers as well will make the project not look so busy. Okay, and you can still know that the what do you call this, the focal point is still there. All right, so there are, if you can see, just a combination of different kinds of foam tape. Okay, now look at this. Okay, so this is not a paper. Okay, so this is paper but with glitter. Oh, this is a kind I don't like. They have glitters, right? So and then this is what do you call this? Foiled. All right. So and then I just used a foam tape. Okay, to lift a little bit, just a low or a medium profile double-sided foam tape. Okay, so that you see that there is texture, there is layer in the card. Right? So your adhesive really could absolutely help, make your projects and make your focal points pop. Okay. Another, do you see this card? Okay. So do you see that it has those like bling things? Okay. Normally we use that for, as an embellishment. Okay. So, these ones are actually from Crafty Mama Diaries, Helen. Okay, I bought this from her, or she actually gave me these ones. Okay, she's very generous, my dear friend, when I was in the US. Okay, she mailed it to me to my friend's house. So these ones I attached via using liquid glue. All right, but the thing is, it does take a while for it to stick, but since they're very, very small, okay, and it's just paper to, most of them are actually faux metal or plastic, so it can stick. But then if you would look, this is paper and then this is glittered paper. Okay, do you see that that is glittered paper? Okay, I think you could see it better from here. Okay, this one. Okay, that one. See, glitter. Okay, so glitter paper actually is difficult. Okay, it is difficult. It's difficult to just use, like your glue stick like this, okay, or your regular glue. Okay, so normally when I use like textured or specialty papers like this, I use double-sided tape. And sometimes I double it up, double-sided with liquid. Okay, again, the first thing you do is to just test it out first. All right. So again, this is another card I created. This one's December. Okay. I did put that together. That was part of Spellbinder Stitch Mass, right? So the thing is, it says bundle up. This is made of, I die cut, what do you call this? What's this fabric, guys? Brain fog, brain fog. This is called felt. Right, so felt. All right, so it's actually kind of difficult to stick immediately. So normally it would glide here and there, and then I used a glossy cardstock. So what I did was I used a double-sided foam tape also to give it a little bit of what do you call this, height, right? And at the same time glue. Okay, so this one, okay, so you have the faux gem. I just used, a dot of glue for that one, as well as this one. Right? So imagine without an adhesive, how can you put all of these projects together? Okay, another kind of card I created where you would see that there are, clusters with different layers. Right? So again, this was achieved by just mixing up different foam tapes of different thicknesses, right? So many amazing things, okay, you could use. Okay, it says stream duration limit exceeded. Okay. Okay, so I think this is okay, for Instagram. Oh, beta. Facebook. Oh, this is new. Facebook now can own, oh no, permitted by Instagram has been reached. Okay, yeah, that's old. Okay, so only 1 hour on Instagram. All right. Okay, so that these are examples, okay, of how you can actually, okay, I saw the answer. Okay, Yvette actually, okay, placed it in the chat. So let's go back to the chat first. Okay, so let me see. Okay, there you go. Okay, ATG gun. Yes. And my daughter says, I prefer tape over glue nowadays, especially when working with paper. Yes, because glue can be kind of messy. But again, that's the most versatile in terms of if you're just working with paper, and very, very cheap. Yes, Susan, ATG gun. Yes, ATG. A lot of our dear friends in the chat uses that because you can go on and on and on and on, create 40, 50 cards and you're good to go because the tape inside is very big, right? So maybe times 4 times, maybe times 10 of what we have in the, the tape runner that I showed you. But again, it's kind of heavy for me. Adhesive tape glider. Okay. So that's what ATG means. So for those who are beginner, what's ATG, right? So it's adhesive tape glider. Thank you so much, Yvette. Again, if you want to know more about those, please do check out our dear friend's channel because they talked about that as well. I know Lynn did, Yvette did, Shanna I think also did. Basically a lot of us use that. Not except me, because it's heavy, right? So, and we have Christine Kmado. Kmado is actually our dear friend Christine. Hi, Christine. Thanks for dropping by. Again, my dear friends, they're actually seasoned card makers, but they're just here to support. Thank you so much, my friends. Yes, take care, Laurie. Yes, good day to everyone. Again, thank you so much. Laurie was here in the beginning since earlier. And Christine saying hi to everybody. Not all glitter paper is made the same. Absolutely. Some glitter paper, they actually put, they shed. Okay, but some glitter paper, it doesn't really shed. So, but still, anything that has like texture like that, because they have ridges, so the adhesive kind of goes in. So it's quite harder to use liquid glue. Yes, love those mittens. Thank you, Christine. Felt, yes. I was like, what do you call this? Sorry, my friends. Okay, felt. Yes, felt. Oh, you should have seen me struggle working with that. My goodness, because I used a thread that is glittered. Oh my goodness, that was such a pain. Hello again. What happened to the Instagram live? Yes, Susan. Thank you so much, my friend. Instagram has a rule that you can go live, but only a maximum of 1 hour. But at least you can go live, and that has been the rule for a very, very long time. So it's okay. It's something that I know happens, right? So it's okay. But the thing that is kind of new is that I'm not sure if they just rolled it out in the US or Canada or on that side of the world, because I was still able to go live on Instagram with just less than 1,000 follows, because some of our dear friends have been posting and said, what's happening? I can no longer, go live because they have less than 1,000 follows on Instagram. Right? So if there's anybody in the community who's like me, less than 1,000, yes, please. Okay. We seek your support. Please follow us on Instagram. Okay, so thank you, Susan. Yes, Susan has been watching and checking it out for us. Yvette's amazing. Yes, absolutely. You all are amazing, right? So of course we all look up to the pioneer crafters, paper crafters in our community. Of course, you have Jennifer Maguire, Team Holtz, um uh, Christine Werner, and then of course Kathy Zilski and so many others, right? But it's just an amazing thing for you know the crafters like me, who was very small, but still, friends like you guys who are crafters as well, who love crafting. They support and we support each other. That's why I'm really, really very, happy for Meg and for Lynn. Our friends who actually has already come out with their own line of products, and they have been sold out because of the awesome community that we have, where really we support and they support the crafters in our community. And I hope that that doesn't change. Gotta run, time to head out to the pool. I want to join you, Yvette. Guys, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go and join Yvette. How I wish I could join Yvette. She's gonna go on to a aqua fit, aqua exercise. Yes, have a great time. Oh, you don't want much on Instagram. All right. So Susan, why I go live on Instagram? Because I'm very lazy to post on Instagram. That's why I'll say, okay, so that I have content on Instagram, I just go live together. I live stream to all of the platforms. I know, right? I'm lazy. And my BFF, my newest BFF, Christelle, how are you? Christelle, we're going to go live this Saturday, okay, on Jay's channel for Faith Journaling. All right. So I hope one of these days when Christelle is no longer shy, that she will be able to join me and Jay for one of our episodes for Faith Journaling. Yes, great way to get exercise, Yvette. Absolutely. All right. So there, okay. So now let's do, okay, so that's the dry adhesives. Okay, so again, the pros, it bonds clean. Okay, hold on. Let me just, I'm OC. Okay, the sides, I can see a little bit of no, black. So, and it's clean and great for paper, right? So if you don't want those, especially with a glue gun, what do you call that? Like the stringy thing? Forgot what you call it. Anyway, so it's irritating, right? And then when you have liquid glue and then you accidentally, use a lot, and then it's gonna seep out of your project. So the cleanest one is really a double-sided tape. But then it takes two steps. It takes an additional step because after you've put it in, you have to, next is to remove the release tape on top of it so that it becomes double-sided. Right? So that, and of course, it's a little bit more expensive than your liquid glue. Okay, and again, it may not work well for bulky or heavy items. So when I do like DIY stuff, 3D stuff, I really don't have any choice but to use the glue gun, especially when I use corrugated boxes. That's the best one to use, or your E6000. Okay? Tips: store in cool places to prevent drying out. And yes, a great reminder, not just to you, but to me as well, that all the adhesives that we have, no matter you know, how awesome they are, if you store them for, 5 years, 10 years, right? So it's not gonna last forever. They do have expiration dates, and so do not hoard, my friends, if you're not gonna be using it anyway for a lot of projects. So if you are just a beginner into paper crafting, don't buy the big ones. Just buy small ones. Test it out. Which one do you think is best for you? Right? So like my dear friends, they love the ATG gun. Okay, but I don't. Although it's amazing, a lot of people swears by it because I have a little bit of an impediment. I cannot carry heavy things, right? So I easily get tired and my grip is not that strong. So I do have limitations. So what works for me may not work for you. So the best thing is to just test it out. So get something that's first small, all right? So don't buy in big quantities unless it's a project that you really need to work on. Okay? And then again, don't store it near windows, right? So because of course the sun is also one of the reasons why your adhesives can, be destroyed. Okay, it loses its stickiness because the it reacts. Okay, so the ingredients of the adhesive can actually react. Okay, and come up with a different what do you call this product? Okay, which destroys its stickiness in time. Yes, use your supplies, everyone. Yes, don't be like me. I hope that one of the things I'm doing this for is because I I am a recovering hoarder. There you go. I would buy things just because they were on sale, just because they're cute, just because they're pretty, and it doesn't end with paper. It's like everything. Adhesive, scissors, trimmers, what have you, right? And being a solo parent at this point and season in my life, I cannot do that anymore. Right? And as I grow old as well, pretty soon I may not be able to work as much as I used to before. So I just have to be, more intentional in how, I buy and I spend products. I could actually live maybe till the day I say goodbye to all of you with what I have. But it's just that the manufacturers keep coming up with so many awesome things. But okay, I can really now control myself. There you go. All right. So after wet adhesive, dry adhesive, are there more? Okay, are there additional? Yes. Okay. So the next one is your specialty adhesive. Although I showed you some of it already earlier on. Okay. So these are like your hot glue, epoxy, spray adhesive, like the one I showed you, the pixie spray, right? And glue pens. Yes, pens. There are, if you want very, very detailed. But I'm not a fan of that because I find it's not very, very sticky. So I would rather have, I use my favorite glue and that just get a very fine tip. Okay, I'll show you what I have for that. Okay, and this is best used for most of the time if it's not just paper. Okay, or paper you have when you're using fabric, metal, wood, 3D embellishments. So you need an adhesive that's a little bit stronger. Okay, and caution use with proper ventilation and adult supervision because some of them may have a specific smell, right? Because these are made up of chemicals. Okay, so I will show you. Okay, so like this one, as I mentioned, this is Pixie Spray. So it's a spray adhesive. Okay, and then this is a 3D crystal lacquer. Do you see? This is the original packaging. This is very old, but I kid you not, it's still working. So I'm so blessed. Maybe because we don't have winters, right? So the temperature more or less, it's always hot and humid. So it's still working. And then we have an adhesive for jewelry. So embellishing glue. Okay, so if you have something like metals or jewels, you can use this one. Okay, so again, of course, you have your tacky glue. Okay, and then you have your tack it over and over. I actually use this to revive my cutting mats for my cricket. All right, so maybe one of these days I will do like a short or a video on how I actually do that, how I clean it and then revive it and make it sticky again, right? The only time I really throw it out is when it has actually really cracked and I can no longer use it. All right, so these are just some. Oh, here's another one. Okay, the diamond glaze. So it actually gives you dimensional adhesive. So it doesn't just, put things together, sticks things together. It also adds dimension. Okay, so these are just some of the specialty glues that we have in the market. But this is not all. There's so many. Do you need this? No. Again, depends on what project you're doing. The reason I have all of this is because I really dabble into different kinds of crafts. And since I do create content on YouTube, I'm able to use it. All right. So Christelle is saying, "Oh, that's my tummy. What are you doing?" All right. They already know I have a big tummy. All right. Yeah, there you go. Hello, Christine. This is that's KK. That's Christine Kemato. All right. And Sammy, use your supplies. Yes, there you go. All right. So let's go back to our presentation. Okay. So next one. Okay. So after the specialty glues, you need to choose the right adhesive. As I said, you don't need to buy all of these things. So for the beginner crafter, yes, I'm talking to you, right? And of course, our dear friends are here also in the chat. If you have, something like an advice for our, beginner crafters out there who might watch this on replay, okay, please do put them in the chat. I'm sure they'd appreciate that, instead of spending money for buying adhesives that you may never ever use or that you may not need just yet, okay, just focus on actually buying the thing or the adhesive that you really need for your specific project. Again, okay, make sure that the bond strength that you need is just appropriate. So if it's just for paper, okay, don't buy that. Right? So buy the adhesive that is specifically applicable for the craft that you need. So if you're coming in right now, okay, you can, move back a little bit and look for the tips, or I actually showcased what are the adhesives that are best for some. It's not very exhaustive, but at least several crafty projects that you might actually might do. Okay, I suggested adhesives for those specific projects. All right. And of course, you also have to think of longevity and archival quality. This is specifically for those who do memory keeping, scrapbooking, or even art or faith journaling, right? So because most of the time you would want to keep those for quite a long time, right? So with that, for with cards you can use whatever, but for if you want archival safe and longevity, then you have to choose a little bit of a different kind of adhesive. Look for the words archival safe, lignin free, all right, or acid free. All right. And finally, okay, adhesive tips and tricks. All right. So friends in the chat, feel free to put your tips, okay, and in the chat so others may actually, learn from you as well. So test it on scrap first, especially if you are working on a project where making a mistake may not be something that you have the liberty of. So just test it on a scrap first so that you don't ruin your project, right? And then use tweezers for small pieces because no matter how small our hands are, okay, if you really, but sometimes I'm very lazy, and I think you've seen that if you are somebody who's been watching me for quite a while. I know I can use tweezers, but I'm quite lazy. So I just use my fingers. And that actually messes things up, smears your project sometimes. So again, if you have, you start with what is right. Right? So it's best to use tweezers for the very small pieces. So you don't put adhesive on your fingers. And at the same time, you don't make your project or the pieces of your project dirty. Next, remove glue strings, okay, with a heat gun, right? So when you're using a heat gun, sometimes or oftentimes, okay, let me see if I have it. You know what happens when you're using this one, right? So you've laid down the glue, and then when you lift it up, and then there's that string of glue that comes out, right? So the thing is, when before you lift it up, you twist it around like that, okay, and then remove it immediately. All right, because sometimes those things get stuck to the other parts of your project, especially if you are doing layering or clustering. So it can be. I remember, my friends, there was this year. I think that was about 2016, 2015, where every event has this like major, very huge paper flowers at the background. Okay, that used to be a thing. And I used to make those. Oh, and my goodness, my hands, I would always burn myself from, using the heat gun. Again, because of those stringy things. So also be very careful. And if you have kids, younger kids, I highly suggest do not let them use the glue gun just yet. And of course, keep the nozzles clean. That's for the liquid glue and for the heat gun, for both of them. All right. So, and then finally, okay, common mistakes to avoid, although I mentioned this a little bit as well in the late a while ago. So, overusing wet glue. Okay, much doesn't mean better. Okay, or more does not mean it's better. Okay, it can actually ruin your project. So, what is just right? Maybe a tad is just enough, especially for, like this ones. Okay, so when you add your embellishments like this, right? So, you don't need a lot. Okay, so you don't need to clean up after. Okay, so just a tad, they're already gonna adhere. That's no worries already. Okay, and of course, using the wrong adhesive for the material. But sometimes it happens, right? This is the only one I have, but I have to make do with it. So say it's better if you use a double-sided adhesive, but you ran out. So the only thing you have is a glue, liquid glue. So what do you do? So you use the liquid glue, but then be aware that there is a drying time for that, right? So you just have to be more intentional in using it if you're not using the appropriate adhesive, right? But then again, if it's really like metals to wood and fabric, something like that, it's going to really be very difficult if you're using the wrong adhesive. Okay, and of course, forgetting to let glue dry completely, especially, okay, this is specifically for the liquid glue. All right. So sometimes and oftentimes that happens to me. All right. So let's go back to the chat first before I move on to the next. Okay, Crystal said, some people use double stick tape and liquid. Is this necessary? All right. So as I mentioned earlier, Crystal, but that's a great that's a great question actually, right? So I do that. Okay, when I know that my double-sided adhesive somehow has already almost dried up. So it's not as sticky anymore. It's still sticky, but I know that after a while it might, get removed. So what I do is after laying it down, I add a little bit of a liquid adhesive. I think you've seen me do this, right? So I want to have a layer. Okay. I want to layer it. Okay. Like this one. Okay. But then this one, if you make a mistake and it's double sided and you want to peel it, it's going to rip the paper. So having that double-sided adhesive, the foam tape or the flat, and then adding a little bit of liquid glue under, okay, or over it before you actually adhere it gives you a little bit of a wiggle room to move it a little bit until you're sure that that is where you want it and then stick it. And when it dries up, it's permanent. But before it dries up, you can still wiggle it. If you just use double-sided adhesive, whether it's foam or flat, the minute that you put it there and then you pressed on it, it's a big possibility that if you make a mistake, you actually don't want it there, you want it a little bit here, then you have the tendency to rip your paper. Again, there's always paper surgery, but I highly suggest that you don't go there. Okay, be very intentional. Okay, so that's why sometimes you use both the dry adhesive like foam tape or double-sided tape and liquid glue together. All right. Again, thank you so much for that question from our dear friend, our BFF in the community, Crystal. Okay. And Christine said, I would say consider what one would be gluing, such as mainly gluing paper. I love Barely Arts glue. All right. So for those who would like to see, for those who are beginners, I actually had to take a photo, okay, for my dear friends of what I have because they want to see what does that look like. So this is Barely Art glue. Okay, this is Barely Art glue. So it comes in different sizes. This is the mini one. Okay, and then it comes to the bigger one. And then the refill is actually shaped like a bear. It's just over there on my shelf over there. So I and then what I do is I just refill this. I like that it's the smaller one because it's easier to handle and press when rather than when you have a we have a big one. So this is barely art glue. So this is Christine's favorite and a lot of us who are this is their favorite, mine too. My second favorite is actually this one. It's the art glitter glue. Okay, so this one. So these two are my go-to liquid adhesives for whatever. Okay. All right. So basta paper crafting as long as it's paper crafting. All right. So there you go. Okay, so let's go through the others as well. Okay, good point about the archival. Thank you, Christine. And yes, I agree with testing on scraps first. It's helpful to know what your adhesive can and cannot do. And maybe if you're like me, who bought so much because they were on sale or they look nice, right? So test them out because maybe they have expired and maybe it's not as effective anymore and it's actually very runny and stuff like that, right? So test it out first. Okay, Susan said, get an adhesive area. Oh, yes. I forgot about that. Thank you. Thank you. See, what will I do if your guys are not here? Hold on, hold on. I will get it. Okay. Thank you, Susan. Love you, my friend. All right, so get an adhesive eraser. They are very helpful to remove some of the glue that might seep out of the seams. Okay, so for those of you like, what does that look like? This is what they look like, my friends. Right? So they're actually very rubbery, right? So it looks like this. So you'd see that only the sides, because normally, so what happens is the glue or the adhesive that gets stuck, okay, will actually stick to this and then turn into like that. What do you call this piece? That's the glue. Okay, that has been removed. So basically, what you do is, let's say, for example, you have, an excess adhesive there. With this, okay, glue eraser, you just do like that. Okay, eventually, and then it will stick to that. All right. So this is amazing and it's very, very affordable. Okay. I don't even know. Is there a brand for this? I don't think there's a brand. I'm not sure, but I've had this forever, guys. So this one's a little bit already almost, I feel it's almost maybe it's gonna say bye bye soon. It's I know because it's kind of dried up already. Unlike this one, I can still feel, it's a little bit sticky. It's a little bit more supple than this one. But both are still working. I still use both of them. Okay, so that's a glue eraser. Thank you so much for that, our dear friend Susan in the chat. All right. So again, if you have something you would want to share, so Christina shared, Susan has shared. Yes, good tip, Susan. Absolutely. Leave the paper surgery to the professional. Right? I have no choice because I often make a mistake. When we say paper surgery, my friends, it's that I have ripped a lot of papers in the past because I made a mistake in the in the cutting or in the adhesion. So since I have no other choice, either I am live and I don't have the luxury of time to change and come back and cut another one, I will have to make do with what I have. Thus we call it paper surgery. And I have tagged myself, okay, self-proclaimed PhD paper surgeon. There you go. All right, thank you, thank you. Again, look at that. That's one of Christine's card as her avatar, saying hi to everybody. All right. So let's go and move back. All right. So again, see the people in the chat. Most of them are no longer beginners. They're actually seasoned paper crafters, card makers, and they also double into different kinds of crafts. So thank you. I would really like to thank them so much for being here, despite the fact that they probably are so bored to their wits because this is something that is not new to them. Again, this first few days of my series for Craft Everyday in August is going to be absolutely for beginners, okay? But of course, feel free to join in and give also your takes on the different topics that we have to help out those who are just really starting out in the crafting community. All right, so next. Mommy Lala's favorite adhesives. Okay, I've already mentioned to you. Okay, two of them, the art glitter glue and the barely art. Okay, I will show you in a bit what they are, the others are, and where to buy. Okay, of course, I would probably have affiliate links later on. I forgot to put them because I've been so busy the whole day. I am like a spinning top from the time I woke up till before I actually went live. This makeup I put on 5 minutes, 5 minutes, guys, really, because I've been so busy. It's a Monday morning, start of the work week, but then I said I almost didn't go live. I said I'm tired. Can I just do tomorrow? Do it tomorrow? But I said no. It's supposed to be craft every day, not craft twice a day. Right? So I said, okay, I will go live. Right? So I will put some of the links there. Okay, so if you are based here in the Philippines, definitely you can buy it immediately. For those who are not here or based here, I will try to also link some of them. Okay, on my Amazon shop. All right. Again, those links are no extra cost to you, but they actually might give me affiliate what do you call this affiliate benefits that helps out with the continuous creation of this channel and why I love them. All right, so let's go back to our overhead cam. Okay, so amongst all of these, just like Christine, okay, my favorite are for liquid glue this two. Okay, coming up as a third option, okay, is not here because I ran out of it, is the Tombow green one. Those are my top three. Okay, why do I like them? Because you just need a little bit of it, and it's really very strong adhesive, but it still gives you that wiggle time to move it around first. And another thing about the barely art, again, when you buy it, it comes with different tips, but I love using the very very fine tip. Now another thing that you can do is you can buy the big ones of this one. They do come in different sizes, and then get something like a container that you can refill. Okay, and then just have the tip that you want. Like some of us, or most of us, we want the tip that's very pointed, right? So that whether you're using it for detailed adhesion, like for this kinds, or very very slim or tiny ones, then it's easy. And since it's just a small container, it's not so hard. Like for me, my hands are quite weak, right? So if it's a bigger bottle, I have to put a little bit more pressure. But if it's just a small container like this, it's easier. It's easier, right? Let me see. Do I have one that's I have one that's refilled, but it's on the other side of the room. So I normally have a lot of this, so that if I need to like use different kinds of liquid glue, I can just transfer. And then after, okay, I'll just put this pins, okay, like that to cover it. Again, but this is not airtight. Okay, so that's why I highly suggest that if you do it like this, make sure that you don't let it stand for too long because it's gonna dry up. But the thing is, with liquid glue, normally that top will just the one that's gonna dry up, so you can remove that hardened part, okay, and clean the nozzle, and then you're good to go again as well. Of course, don't keep them away from direct sunlight as well. All right, so that's for my liquid glue. Okay, for my specialty glue, one of the things I always use, especially when I do my DIY projects, is the Mod Podge, and I like using the matte. Okay, on top of this, Mod Podge has different versions. So it has one that's for metal, it has one that's for wood. So there's a lot of variations, but I like this one for decoupage, right? And of course, for my stencils, I really like the Pixie Spray because it's really, what do you call this? It's not messy and it will really not rip your paper. All right. And of course, the tack over tack it over and over because I actually use it to also revive my cutting mats for my Cricut machine. All right. So the others I use every now and then, but most of the things that I've shown you are the things that I use most of the time. And when it comes to double-sided adhesive, okay, so I like my double-sided tape. So I have, okay, where's the other one? Okay, I think I've lost it. It must have rolled somewhere. See, that's the thing. When I start putting out stuff on my table, and then they easily get lost. That's me. All right, so that comes in different sizes, but my most used size are the 1/2 inch and the 1/8. The smaller, the half of this, which for some reason I cannot find. Okay, so that's the size. This one I rarely use. Okay, but most of the time it's the 1/2 inch. Okay, sometimes the 1 inch, but normally the 1/2 inch and the 1/8. Oh, there. See, this one, this two. The 1/8 inch and the 1/2 inch. Okay. And then for the foam tape, okay, so I like the low profile tape. Okay, so not the very thick one. Okay, so that one most of the time. And I buy them in balls because it's cheaper. Okay, and then I have this kinds of foam tapes that are round or square because it's easier. Okay, so especially if you have very, very small embellishments, right? So this can even go on buttons. So I have different sizes of that. I have this small, bigger. So I love using foam because I love texture in my projects. Okay, by the way, another kind of adhesive that I wasn't able to show or mention earlier is this is called, I'm not sure if it's still available, but like I mentioned before, okay, I'm sure there is something similar. So it's basically a double-sided adhesive, okay, but it's in a size of an A4 size paper. Okay, so what you do is, let's say, for example, you're gonna die cut something very intricate, like hello, and it's a scripty hello. And so it's so hard to put like an adhesive on that one after it's been cut. So what I do is I stick this onto the paper, okay, that I want to, cut. Let's say I'm gonna fussy cut this. I already put that at the back, double side, and then I fussy cut around it. And then it's so easy to actually remove it. Another is for vellum. Okay, so for your vellum or your acetates, okay, so this one doesn't really show much. All right, so once you remove it, so I like this one. But again, another thing that you can do when you're doing transparent, semi-transparent, translucent paper, the adhesives, I put it only, especially with cards, right? You don't need to adhere all of the embellishments, the whole thing, because eventually, especially if you're layering or clustering, because you're going to put something on top of it anyway, right? Just make sure that it adheres so it's not going to fall out. Right, so if you're going to use a vellum or acetate, make sure that I normally use a double-sided adhesive or something like this. All right. And then in case it still can be seen, I put something on top of it. Either I cluster something on top or I put a sentiment, a button, whatever it is to actually hide it a little bit. All right. So those are, and they are available basically in your favorite craft stores wherever you are in the world. Right. So some of them like this might be a little bit harder to find, but most of the adhesives that I mentioned are actually available almost everywhere. Amazon, Michael's, Hobby Lobby. Of course, you can have those kinds of liquid erasers and stuff in your dollar stores and thrift stores, but okay, not the same brands. All right, so let me just go back, okay, to this. Okay, and of course, okay, I already showed you the different projects that I did this with. Okay, and then so there you go. That's craft together. Okay, hold on. Whoops. Okay. Why is the paper like that? It's cut. The OC in me. I cannot. Anyway, please don't forget to share your favorite adhesive in the comments. Okay, post with craft basic adhesives, hashtag craft basics adhesives, hashtag CEDA, hashtag CEDA 2025. And of course, kindly follow me. I'm Mommy Guide Inc. on all the socials. And of course, there are some affiliate links in the description to follow. All right. So tomorrow, yes, of course, we're going to be doing day 4, and it's all about manual and electric die cutting. I don't have all the different die cutting machines in the world, right? But I will show you what I have. I actually, from when I started and what I started with up to the one that I actually use right now, some do's and don'ts, some tips as well. And if you, my dear friends, are available tomorrow, I hope that you can join me as well. Same time, same channel. And please, yes, do share with our beginner crafters who might find this in time. Okay, some tips that you have of your own that may not be mentioned here as well. So yes, tune in tomorrow, same time, same place. All right, same channel, Mommy Guide Inc. But before I go, okay, I just want to go back to the chat again, okay, and check what I missed. You cannot be lazy and see the right whims, but truth be said, at the end of the day, because I do my live streams at nighttime, my friends, it's 9 p.m. I start at 9 p.m. And I'm really, really kind of tired, right? Especially if I go out. When I just work from the office or at home, not so much. But when I get stuck in traffic, that's the time that really it drains my energy. You know how Manila traffic is? Google it, my friends. Google it and you'll see. I think we're part of the top 10 of the worst traffic in the world. Yes, and Wims are okay is saying I'm loving the gel medium mat that I use for art journal or collaging, especially masterboards. Yes, because gel medium, unlike the Mod Podge, is not as sticky, right? But it does the work. It adheres. Mod Podge, yes. I have used Tackit. Yes, Tackit. Right? Tackit is a brand as well. I also have the ones that are like rubber that Sam uses because we have wallpaper in our house. Am I dating myself? Right, wallpaper in the house. So I ask my children, no sticking stuff on the wall. And Sammy has, is a K-pop fanatic, right? She follows this different groups, boy band groups and girl groups. So she likes putting posters. So she uses that tack it kind of adhesive that doesn't ruin the wallpaper. Okay, and Susan said I received new to me glues at Paper Ganza. So for those who are new, what is Paper Ganza? Okay, it's a very awesome event, a face-to-face event. It's like, I think 2 to 3 days. I'm not sure if it's 2 to 3 days, but definitely more than a day. It is organized by Mary Gunn. Okay, and Mary Gunn is the host and founder of Craft Roulette. Right? So a lot of the crafters in the community who have actually never met each other face to face, only in the chat or, only on YouTube or Instagram, finally met up. Right? And Susan was there, Andy or Andrea was there, Christy was there. Of course, I was able to watch some of them because Bitty Penny actually hosted. Carrie was there. There's so many actually of our friends who went there. And that's why Susan said, Lala, save up so we can go here next year, right? So I would love, love, love to. Anyway, I have a 10-year multiple entry visa to the US. So I can actually go there, right? I just have to save up because I saw that there are lots of vendors during Paper Ganza as well, right? So going back, okay, so there were glues that, were given as part of their, what do you call that, loot bag. Okay, Karen Berniston, fine tip butter. Oh, I actually have some of Karen Berniston's dies. I love her, 3D dies. So it's like when I saw, so that is what she looks like. She was actually there. She was one of the vendors. KB Riley preferred zip dry glue and Trinity Stamps crafty glue. Oh, yes. Okay, I have yet to try that one. Okay, Barely Art dries faster than them. All right, so I have not used some of the The only thing I think I've used there, Susan, is the Barely Art. So I would love to hear your reviews about this new adhesives. Thank you so much again, Susan, for sharing. I'd be curious about the zip dry, right? So let's watch out for more reviews. So if you want more reviews, actually, there's a lot in the group. Okay, if you are not yet part of the Crafty Fun Friends with LV Handcrafted, okay, that's a free. It's free to join. It's on Facebook. It's a Facebook group, and I'm part of that. And I'm actually hosting this month's challenge, and it's about friendship, right? So if you do want to join that, it's a private group though, so you need to join the private group, but it's free to join, right? So maximum of 15 entries. So if you would love to join us over there, please head on to the Facebook group, Crafty Fun Friends with LV Handcrafted. And there are several of them who actually attended the Paper Ganza and have been sharing photos and experiences. So I really love it. So again, so there you go. I invite you over onto there. Thank you, Wims, for appreciating. I actually was having second thoughts about doing this because it's very basic, right? So it's like, I know you guys are just here because of you want to support me. So I'm very, very grateful because the things we're talking about are things that you absolutely know about. But I really am very grateful that you're here because you help me out and you also give tips in the chat. So for those who might be watching this on replay or probably watching but not commenting, so thank you so much for helping me out. And I have Dinky here. Okay, tomorrow is die cutting machine. Yes, live. Okay, sounds great. Yes, so manual at the same time electric. Because I have transitioned from the manual to electric because of my issues with my spine and my arm. Yes, and of course we have another friend of mine who's actually, very crafty as well. I know she is, okay, but she's just very busy. But hopefully one of these days she might be able to join me here. Hello, sis Cheryl. See you. Okay, my favorite glues are Gorilla Glue and Wood Glue. Do you know? Oh, I don't have. But I did buy that Gorilla Glue when I went there, I know, Roy. Remember, because I was going to go to camp and I needed glue, I actually bought Gorilla Glue. So I know that brand. Okay. And wood glue. I do have wood glue as well. Because sometimes I do my DIY stuff, but with just but not the heavy duty glue that like Matt has, our dear friend does, or probably Roy works with. It's more of just the ones that you to put together, the very thin ones. I forgot, like balsa wood. I think that's what you call it. Very welcome, Christelle, and I always appreciate you being here, my friend. Sammy says, I use sticky tack for all my posters. Yes, yes, that's it. But the brand of that one, Sam, is Tack It. Yes. Hi, Tita. Yes, referring to, okay, Tita is an honorific word in the Philippines. So if somebody is a little bit older than you, okay, like Dinky's my friend. So, normally the younger kids will call us tita, like in my case tita, but nowadays I'm no longer called tita. I'm called already mommy, nanay, manang. Okay, I'll let you guys research on what those mean. Again, those are just honorific words. All right, Christine Tanya of KB Riley says it's like a clear rubber cement type of glue. Oh, the dry it. Okay, you can just rub away and extra bits with just your finger. That would be awesome. Okay, I will try to look if somebody actually sells it here in the Philippines. One of these days, I'm going to try it, Susan. Yes, go, Christine. Sounds great and perhaps similar to Kolal. Kolali? Is it Kolali or Kolal? All-purpose glue. I have used before. Gosh, see, there's so many brands I haven't even tried yet. Right, so LV Handcrafted is fabulous. Yes, Lynn. Right, another enabler as well. But she's a super talented and very, very kind-hearted supporter of not just, me, but everybody in the community. The Trinity glue seems a little more liquid, not as thick as the Barely Art. If your paper is a little coated, the pieces seemed a little slippery to keep it in place. Oh, so maybe if you're using paper that's a little bit more absorbent, right? More porous, then it's perfect. Okay, I got it. I got it. Thank you for sharing, Susan. That's a great reminder for me. And but it dried clear, so that's great, right? So great, good to know. Yes, thank you so much. See, I'm also learning from you guys. I love it. Sawdust and wood glue. Particle board. Oh, yes. Okay. Or MDF. Right? So there you go. Thank you so much again, Roy. Roy is Tech Troublemaker. Okay, he goes live every Tuesday nights Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Okay, and that's 9 a.m. Philippine time for those who are in the Philippines. So if you have questions about tech, specifically being a content creator on YouTube, okay, he is my go-to channel, right? So you will also see me often in the chat as well. Thank you for gifting us with 5 memberships today. Congratulations to the new members of the channel as well. Haven't used Collal, but I know a few paper crafters that love it. All right. So again, I think I've heard that also from Lynn as well. So I will check that out as well. All right. So with that, my friends, yes, it's time to go. But before I do that, yes, please don't forget to like. And of course, please do share this, especially if you know someone who's actually an absolute beginner into paper crafting or crafting. And of course, if you want more videos that's similar to like this for crafting, please don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever I go live or have videos that are coming up. By the way, I have one that's coming up August 7 for Not Too Shabby, the Mood Board Challenge. So I'll hopefully give you more inspiration for that. That's on top of my live stream for August 7. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Yes, we do a lot of crafting here. And sometimes I actually do also vlogs of my life as a mom, right? So our travel, sometimes you see me playing with my kids and all of these things. Again, thank you so much for the like whims and to everybody who are here who are actually no longer beginners but are just here to be with me and join me and help me out in giving out tips to our absolute crafty beginners. Again, to you who really wants to start out with the basics, welcome to crafting. And our series continues on tomorrow for basics of manual die cutting and electric die cutting. With that, thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day wherever you are in the world and see you again tomorrow. Bye.